Hello, my name is Mohammed Anas, and along with my fellow group members Simranjeet Kaur, Usman Mahmood, and Suman Devi, we are presenting this presentation for our group assignment 3 for STT500 and submitted to Dr. Muhammad Shoaib Khan. Now, Simran will start off with the introduction part of the presentation. Over to you, Simran.
Hi everyone, this is Simran. Today I'm going to talk about to define the diabetes. Diabetes mellitus refer to set of metabolic illnesses in which there is a rise in blood sugar level due to a deficit in either insulin synthesis or insulin action or both. This deficiency may occur in any or both of these areas. On a national and international scale, the prevalence of diabetes mellitus is on the rise. Next slide, please. The most common kinds of diabetes is called diabetes type 2. So these are the main symptoms of a diabetes, and it has become a worldwide health crisis that threaten the economics of all countries, particularly those that are still developing. Approximately 70% of type 2 diabetes cases that are now being diagnosed take place in countries with low or intermediate income. Insulin is produced by the body, but it is not used in the correct manner. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to talk about the main symptoms of a diabetes, the causes of a diabetes like excessive eating, smoking, drinking, mental or endocrine system issues, greater cortisol level, hormone changes, lack of exercise, and dietary factor like age might cause diabetes mellitus. Apart from BMI and other risk factor, a diet high in cereal fiber reduces and incidence of a diabetic mellitus. Next slide will be continued by my team member Suman. Thank you.
Hi everyone. And now I would like to talk about the complications of uncontrolled diabetes, and this is the diabetic coma, DKA ketoacidosis. When the cells in body don't have the sugar for energy and turns to the fat for energy, ketones are produced. Breath smells like polish remover. Move to the next slide. This is the presentations of global prevalence, and in the next slide is the global prevalence graph. In the next slide, I will talk. This is the bar chart for the diabetes. Now, I would like to talk about the next slide, which is next slide, please. Histogram for BMI. In this, here we will refer to the person who does not have the diabetics as 0 and the diabetic person as 1. According to the findings, the vast majority of the people who participated in the study did not have the diabetes. The next slide, histogram for the BMI. A person who does not have the diabetes will be referred as 0 throughout the discussion, whereas the diabetic will be referred as 1. The diabetic indicated that the overwhelming majority of persons who took part in the research did not have diabetes. That's all from my side. Now I carry on it to my friend.
Hello, my name is Usman, and in this slide we have to discuss about the histogram for glucose level. The fact that the blood glucose levels of the people who participated in the research varied from 80 to 200 indicates that it was appropriate to include both diabetic and non-diabetic individuals in the data that was obtained. In addition to this, an explanation is provided for the distribution of glucose levels, which is shown in the graphic as a conventional normal distribution. Next slide, please. So in this slide, I have to discuss about scatter plot. We have created a scatter plot so that we may examine the relationship that exists between high blood pressure and elevated glucose levels. From the figure, we can determine that the data are distributed normally around the trend line, which demonstrates a positive linear link between an individual's blood pressure and glucose level. Next slide, please. So in this slide, I discussed about correlation matrix. The diabetes datasets contains a number of numeric data type variables. A correlation matrix is helpful in analyzing a link between these variables and can further help in the selection of the variables in the regression analysis. Next slide, please. So in this slide, we have to t-test for mean glucose level. We have created for the null hypothesis, we have assumed that HO mean glucose level of an individual is less than 100. And the alternate hypothesis is H1 mean glucose level is greater than 100. Then we ran the test to see our results. We can notice that the p-value for the test is less than the significance level assumed. Hence, we have sufficient evidence to reject the null hypothesis. In conclusion, we can say that the mean level of glucose level in the subjects under study is more than 100. Now, I would like to call Mohammed Anas to continue further.
Thank you, Usman. So I will be discussing here about the simple linear regression. So after then, we conducted the regression analysis on the data set while assuming that the BMI as the dependent variable and skin thickness being the independent variable. The variables used in the analysis are chosen due to the high correlation observed in the correlation matrix. Moving forward, here in the output mentioned in the above slide, we can see that the p-value of the analysis poses the significance of the independent variable. That is, the predictor is significantly different from zero, and evidently, stick thickness is a good indicator of the BMI of the individual. Moving on to the next slide. So it is basically the output for the simple linear regression that we have also presented in our report as well, that we'll be submitting with the Word file. And I explained in the earlier two slides what we have done to test it. So moving on to the next slide is the conclusion for the simple linear regression. So we can see that the p-value of the analysis displays the importance of the independent variable here in the output. This means that the predictor is substantially different from zero, and it is clear that the stick thickness is a good prediction of the individual BMI. Now here we will be testing and discussing about the multiple linear regression. So we built a multivariable linear regression model with the individual's BMI as the dependent variable, and other numerical factors are the predictors. Once more, the factors chosen as predictors were determined by consulting the correlation matrix. The regression model findings are as follows in the upcoming slide. So here from the output, we can infer that the p-value of the variables used as the predictor indicates that the variable are significantly different from zero. Thus, we can say that our choice of predictors in assessing the BMI of the individual is accurate. From the result, we can see that the skin thickness is the best predictor for the assessment of the BMI of the individuals. Now, so this is basically the conclusion for the multiple linear regression. So as a result of the output, we were able to draw the conclusion that the p-values of the variables that were used in the prediction process suggest that the variables are substantially distinct from zero. As a result, we are able to assert that the predictors that we have selected for the purpose of determining the individual's BMI are reliable. So according to the findings, the measurement of the individual's skin thickness is the factor that is most accurate in predicting their body mass index, that is BMI.